गुड इवनिंग विश्वास। विवेक सर, आप लेक्चर डिलीट कर देते हैं। मैं विलेज में रहता हूं और यहाँ नेटवर्क इशू रहता है, इसलिए जब नेटवर्क ठीक रहता है तब आपकी क्लास देख पाता हूं। माय डियर विवेक, द क्लास मीन्स लाइव लेक्चर्स। लाइव लेक्चर के बाद जो लेक्चर है वो ऐप में अवेलेबल रहता है। क्रैक ग्रेड बी का जो एप्लीकेशन है वहां पे अवेलेबल रहता है, वहां से आप देख सकते हो रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स को। Good evening, Chetan. On YouTube we are providing only the live lecture, okay, and the recorded part is always available in the tablet. Tab. I was saying tab. It is always available in the website or in the application. Vikulp sir, PDF of this live lecture will be available for the paid subscriber. Yeah, regarding PDF, actually, I was finalizing all those PDF, so it is almost done. Means I did this in this way. Means I'm preparing the handwritten one, right? So this handwritten one is taking some time, but for this one, uh, for national income wala part is going to be uploaded tonight. Almost it is completed. I will upload it tonight. This one. Good evening, Prachi, Vikulp, Deepti. Happy Shivatri. Har Har Mahadev. Once I will upload, I will inform in the group, in the Telegram group. I will inform once I will upload. I will inform the Telegram group. Then you can download it from the application. Har Har Mahadev Jigyanshu. So okay, so let's start today's part. In the last lecture, I have started about the poverty because we have to understand the inequality. And sir, your RBI lecture PDF is all. Yes, Raj. See, after this one means national income part. After this one, I will also upload RBI and budget wala also. Means all the PDF, all the live lectures PDF I will upload. And I personally tell you, this copy pasting and the things I do only do this thing where it is very important. Rest of the thing I just want to write on my own words, so that it will be like when you will read those PDF that is handwritten the PDF. When you will read those PDF, you will feel like a live lecture, right? So rather than giving, because already the that printed part which can be printed, or you can say that the formal part, it is already available, but what I am going to provide, it's a handwritten, and that is based on live lecture, right? So it is going to be much more better experience for you. सर बाकी चैप्टर का पीडीएफ कहाँ मिलेगा जो अभी आपने पढ़ा है? आई हैव नॉट गिवन एनी पीडीएफ टिल देन नाउ. आई विल प्रोवाइड द नेशनल इनकम पीडीएफ, देन आरबीआई का पीडीएफ, और बजट का पीडीएफ एंड आरबीआई का पीडीएफ. अविनाश कुमार सर, सिलेबस तो कर लिया है बट डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन से अभी भी डर लगता है. No need to worry. Means I as yes, one announcement I want to make. Actually, Ashok ji already make this announcement yesterday, and I was little bit unaware. Means I was not mentally prepared for that thing. So I inform Ashok ji ki from today, means today I will take only 1 hour lecture. From tomorrow onwards, the lecture timing will be 8 to. Lecture timing is going to be 8 to 9:30 will be the lecture timing, and from 9:30 to 10 I will dedicate for descriptive wala part, right? I will dedicate that particular session for descriptive wala part. Means a descriptive part I will focus, and in that descriptive part focus, first I will make you understand particular thing, then I will frame a question, and then I will let you know how to frame your answer, right? So all these things I'm going to do in that half an hour part. So in that way, I just want to make you sure that descriptive, you are any one of you who are going to do my classes, I will make sure that you are not going to face any difficulty in the descriptive part. Right? That's for sure. Just follow the things. You are not going to face any difficulty. That is for sure. Don't worry. Sunday, I'm planning. Most probably Sunday. On the Sunday, I will take 2 hours session on schemes, current affairs, each and everything, including this. What means? See, on Sundays current affairs. In Sunday's current affairs, earlier I was taking only the financial wala part. I was taking financial part, right? But from now onwards, I will try to incorporate not only the financial part, government schemes, all these things. I will try to incorporate, and will take a 1.5 hour session or 2 hour session. Means I will complete a holistic way, in a holistic way, rather than being a selective as I was doing last time. But this, from this time onwards, I will do in the holistic manner. Okay, regarding means for from my area, means you are not going to face any difficulty. Okay, don't worry. So shall I start right now? Okay then. So we have started our discussion. See, we have to discuss. We have to know on this issue, growth and inequality, right? Growth and inequality, growth, development, and inequality. So all these issue we have to address as per our syllabus. But what is inequality? Inequality comes basically from what? It has come due to poverty, right? So poverty is the root cause of the inequality, right? Though there are certain other reasons for the inequality, but poverty is a base. So that's why we must have to understand poverty first, then we will describe inequality in detail, and then we will compare inequality, growth, and development. These three things we are going to discuss, right? So this is why Acha, okay. Now focus on the lecture. Avinash, focus on the lecture. So, so we must have to understand the poverty. And in the last lecture, I told you to understand the poverty. It is defined as relative deprivation. It is defined as relative deprivation from basic human needs. And when it is about human needs, it is food, shelter, health, and education, like these things. However, food, I told you, food is a primary thing, and most of the very poor countries and African countries, even in India, food is given with the utmost importance in terms of poverty eradication, right? But being as a concept, we study it is this concept of poverty in two manner. One is the relative poverty, and one is a absolute poverty, right? Absolute poverty and relative poverty. And for that, we must have to understand what we must have to understand first, that is Lorentz curve and Gini coefficient. Lorentz curve and Gini coefficient. I beg your pardon, because in the last class I have mentioned it is part of absolute poverty. Actually, these two concepts are related to the relative poverty. In the relative poverty concept, we will compare the people who have what amount of money in comparison to others. So that is relative poverty. Whereas in the absolute poverty, what we do in the absolute poverty, we just make a kind of formulation. For example, how many number of people are not able to get 2400 calorie and 2100 calorie respectively in rural area and urban area, right? Urban area, less manual labor is required, so that is why 2100 calorie, whereas in the rural area to sustain yourself you need more calories in the form of physical work, so that is why 2400 calorie for the rural area and 2100 calorie for urban area. So this basic amount of calorie is required for any human being to sustain itself, right? So we have made a formulation, and through formulation we are going to do the head count. We are going to do the head count, means how many number of people are there who are not able to attain this amount of calorie, right? So in the absolute poverty method we will look who are the people who even not able to even get the most basic requirement, that is food. So the concept of absolute poverty is more or less related to what? It is more or less related to only on head counting of those people who are deprived from the very basic essential thing, that is food, right? And if you look the approach of India, if you look approach of the India since 1947 till then 1991, from 1947 till then 1991, the approach of India was basically based on absolute poverty only, though some calculations related to relative poverty, some calculations related to relative poverty was also being done, but primarily our focus was on the eradication of absolute poverty. Those who are still confused between the concept of absolute poverty and relative poverty, for them absolute poverty means what? In the When we are going to understand this absolute poverty, the definition of poverty said that it is relative deprivation from basic requirement of human life, okay? And if we are going to look towards absolute poverty, then the basic deprivation means deprivation from basic human needs, and among all those basic human needs, food is the most important need, right? So our focus is more or less on providing the food. That means if you are able to get the food which is desired for human to sustain itself, right? If you are able to get that food, then you are out of absolute poverty. Sometimes it is also in common literature it is known as acute poverty, right? For example, in news articles they use the term acute poverty, right? So acute poverty means you are deprived from food, even you are not able to get the food and cloth, right? So in that term we are focusing on the absolute poverty. Whereas when we go for the concept of relative poverty is going to be the broader measure. It is a broader measure, and in this concept, we take the poverty with not conservative way, because in the absolute poverty we are more conservative. Why? Because we are defining the poverty in terms of deprivation from food, cloth, and shelter, right? Especially food. We say food, cloth, and shelter. But in absolute poverty, the methodology which was used all over the world, it is basically based on food, right? But when we go to the relative poverty concept, we also see food, clothes, shelter, and are you able to get that amount of money in comparison to others, so that you can get all basic things like food, shelter, health, education, health features, all these things are being included. So when I mentioned the Tendulkar committee in the last class, Tendulkar committee emphasized that India should shift from absolute poverty to relative poverty conceptualization. That is why, if you will see in the last few years, you have not found this concept frequently in the economic literature of India, the so called poverty line. The so called poverty line, it was based on concept of what? Absolute poverty. Why? Here, how the poverty line was being defined. To define the poverty line, we have taken this formula 2100 calorie for urban and 2400 calorie for rural, right? Now question was how much money is required to get this amount of calorie requirement. How much amount of money is required to get this calorie requirement, right? So from time to time, planning commission was giving its suggestion. For example, planning commission said that for 2100 calorie in urban area, just give an example, it is not a data, just for an example. For example, if planning commission said that 2100 calorie for 2100 calorie in Indian urban areas, there is a need of 48 rupees, whereas to get the 2400 calorie in rural area, right, because the level of inflation is relatively high in the urban area in comparison to rural area. So for example, 37 rupees. So 37 rupees is required to get 2400 calorie on daily basis, and 48 rupees is required on daily basis to get the 2100 calorie amount. So how the poverty is going to be calculated? So 48 rupees on daily basis multiplied by 30 days, right, multiplied by 30 days, then this amount x is going to be multiplied by 365 days. So suppose that it is going to be some amount. What is the amount? Tell me immediately. Anyone can give me the quick calculation? 48 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 365. Anyone can give me the quick calculation? 48 rupees is required for daily basis. So for 30 days, then 365. Five lakh. Sorry, not 365 days. Sorry. 48 into 30 multiplied by 12. Suppose that this amount is a multiplied by 12. What will be the amount? It will be 48 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 12. Yes. So that is how much? 17,280 rupees. So this amount, if any person in India, right, any person in India is getting this amount, right, but people live with the family, generally people with the family, right? So if any family, just consideration ki any family in India have 4 to 5 members, right? So suppose that the family have the 5 members, we have taken the consideration ki this is the amount which is required for a single person, but generally a family in India have 5 people, right? So generally a family in India have 5 people. So multiplied by 5, that amount is going to be how much? That amount is going to be 17,280 is for a single person. But if household means a family, household in terms of household generally have 5 members, so the amount will be 17,280 multiplied by, it is going to be 86,400 household income. So household income will be 86,400. Just consider it as 86,400 is a household income in urban area, right? Household income in urban area. That means how the poverty is going to be calculated in India. Government will say that ki any household which is getting rupees 86,400 on annual basis, they will be considered above poverty line. So this is going to be what? This is going to be the line, and this line is for what? Urban area, and income is 86,400. So if a family is below this income, suppose that a family is getting only 70,000, so that is known as BPL family. BPL family, below poverty line, right? So they are going to be below poverty line, and if somebody is getting like 90,000, so it is APL, above poverty line. So you are just above the poverty line, you are below the poverty line. So in India, as I told you, especially from 1947 to 1991, the main focus was on uplifting the people from below poverty line at least to above poverty line. Sometimes it is being criticized. India is being criticized that you are focusing on what? You are just focusing on the food. Are Baba, if a country is suffering, if a country is not having an income, so what is the first responsibility of the government? The first responsibility of government should be at least provide the food. So that is why government of India was more focused on the food. From 1991 onwards, when India's economic well-beingness and the profile of Indian economy has started expansioning, and India is able to generate more and more income, so gradually India has started focusing on the other aspects also. And from 2013-14 onwards, this concept of poverty line you cannot see in the economic literature in general in India, because what government feel that ki when we will focus on the poverty line, we are only focusing on the food rather than focusing on the poverty line. What Niti Aayog opinion, Niti Aayog, which replaced planning commission, their approach is what? Their approach is we should not focus on the poverty line. Why we should not focus on the poverty line? Because if we are focusing only on the poverty line, our approach is going to be what? Narrow approach. Narrow approach in terms of focusing on food, shelter, cloth only. Our approach should be broad, and government should focus on multiple dimensions of the poverty, right? So multi-dimensional poverty, multi-dimensional poverty, and this multi-dimensional poverty concept is more close related to relative poverty. Why? because because in relative poverty, rather than looking over on what, rather than looking over food, shelter, cloth, right, we will focus on how much money household is getting in India, right? And our focus is going to be on increasing the household income overall, right? Increasing the household income overall, as well as for the better distribution of income. First, we have to increase the income, and side by side we have to make sure that even more better distribution of that income. So suppose that earlier we was earning 100 rupees and we have 10 people, so per capita income will like that 100 rupees. But what was happening, out of this 10 people, 7 who are poor and middle class, they are able to generate how much? They are able to generate only 30 rupees, whereas 3 rich people, they are generating 70 rupees. Right? Now income is increased to 500. Income is increased to 500. Suppose that still there are 10 people only. So per capita income will be 50. The per capita income is going to be 50. So our emphasis is not just increase the income from 100 to 500. Our income should be also, our focus should be also on कि from now, earlier the 30% income, they are generating only 30% income, 7 people who are uh, poor people or the middle class, and a very rich class was generating 70% income. Our focus should be on at least this section is producing 40 to 45% income. 40 to 45% income, right? So this is the target of the government, not only just increase the income but also decrease the inequality. And for that analysis we must have to understand the concept of relative poverty. One trivia for you: the population of earth is somewhere around 7 billion. 7 billion population, and you know that the 100 most rich people, every year Forbes and other magazines, they will give the list of 100 most rich people. So 100 most rich people of the world, they control almost 78% of total wealth. So out of 7 billion people, 78% is held by 100 most rich people of the world. The world which have the population of 7 billion, somewhere around 7 billion, out of that 7 billion people, 100 most rich people, they have total wealth of around 70% of total wealth. So you can understand how inequality is being there at the world level, right? And this inequality also will go, see, if you will go to country like US, right? So country like US, super rich country, right? Super rich country, USA. Whereas a country like Finland, Norway, right? Finland and Norway. US is a super rich country, but the difference means the inequality. Inequality is higher here in comparison to Finland and Norway, right? The difference between rich people and the middle class is wider. It is wider in USA in comparison to Norway and Finland, because these countries are means upper income country, but the distribution of income among those countries are better. So that is why when you will see this HDI, you will find, I told you that about HDI. HDI is comprised of three things: long and healthy life, knowledge, and decent standard of living. So per capita. So per capita income is better distributed. Per capita income is better distributed in European countries in comparison to America. So that is why the standard of living is little bit higher, right? So all these things we have to discuss. All these things we have to discuss. But first, I must say you should understand this Lawrence curve. Lawrence curve. But before explaining the Lawrence curve, I hope whatever I have explained till then now, is it clear? So just quickly let me know. Whatever I have explained till then now, is it okay? If you have any doubt or question, please ask me. Otherwise, I'll move forward and I'll explain you this Lorentz curve. So on x-axis, we will take population, and on y-axis, we are going to take what? We are going to take income. Better implementation of Rawlsian theory. Yes, Divyanshu. Not only Rawlsian theory, but also Michael Sandel's theory. Distributive justice. Right. So Rawlsian theory was more or less was a kind of wheel of ignorance and all these things. It was combined, means the Scandinavian country are not only able to implement what Rawls said that, but they are also able to implement what Michael Sandel said that. Right. All those people who are not part of the political science study, they ignore what I have just said, right? Rawls and Michael Sandel, these are the philosophers. Basically, they are political philosophers, and they have taken the concept of justice, right? They studied about the justice, and for them justice is what? When every person is going to get his due, right? What is your due? You must get. If the country is having good income, then that income must be distributed in the proper manner. So in that way, they have discussed in the philosophical manner about uh, poverty and income, but it is basically a concept of justice in the subject of political science. And Rawls is one of the flag bearer who explained about this concept of justice in the 21st century. Right? That briefing is sufficient. You should not focus on that thing. Now just understand the Lawrence. So Lawrence was an economist, and he just want to know and understand about the poverty, right? So to in order to understand the poverty, what he hypothetically believes that there is no poverty, and if there is no poverty, means each and everyone is getting same income. Each and everyone, see, he want to understand the poverty, and for that he have an hypothesis, and under his hypothesis he just assumed that first, if there will be no poverty, then what will happen? If there will be no poverty, before moving forward, I again want to remind you, we are talking about relative poverty. That means we will compare the income of various group of populations, right? So under the relative poverty concept, Lawrence want to study about the how to calculate the inequality. For that purpose, initially, first he believed that there is no poverty. And if there is no poverty, that means each and every one is getting equal amount of income. What it means that? It means that population and income, if we will take this thing, 10% of population, if there is no poverty, then definitely 10% of population will get the 10% of income. Why? Because there is no poverty. That means each and everyone is getting the same amount of income. Then that means 10% of population is having the 10% of income. So the 10% of population is having the 10% of income. Zero population, zero income. 10% population, 10% income. 20% population is going to have 20% of income. 30% population is going to get 30% of income. So if this assumption will be taken, what assumption? No poverty. Perfect equality. There is a perfect equality. Then we will get a straight line. Here. Why a straight line? Because there is a perfect even distribution of income. 10% population is getting 10% income, 20% population is getting 20% income, 30% population 30% income, 70% population is 70% income. So in that way you will get this straight line, and this straight line will be known as perfect equality line. So this is the perfect equality line. Yes, 45-degree line. That is the perfect equality line, right? But even this is not going to happen even in the Ram Rajya, right? So even in the Ram Raj, it is not possible. Practically, it is not possible ki each and every one there is. Please, anyone do not take offensive ki Ram Raj was is bad. I will explain about what is the meaning of Ram Raj. But even in the Ram Raj, it is not possible. Each and every one is having the same amount of income, right? भावुक मत होइएगा, ठीक है? इसलिए means try to understand this concept from the economic point of view. Fine. So here is the perfect equality line, but practically it is not possible. Generally, what happened? I just told you, rich people are having more income in comparison to the poor people, right? So now let's go little bit more practical, right? So we are taking example of two countries. Hypothetically, there is country A. Even can take the example of three countries, B, and third is country C. There are three countries, and again we are going to say that population and distribution of income. Here we are also going to see population and income distribution. Population and income distribution. In country A, poor population of 70% have 30% of income. Poor population of that country, that is around 70%, have 30% of the income, whereas the remaining 30% rich people control the 70% population. 70% income of that country. Right? 70% population which is poor is having only 30% of income, whereas the 30% population which is upper middle class, and rich people, they are controlling 70% of income of that country. Right? Now if we want to draw a curve, like we tried to draw a curve when there is no poverty, it was perfect straight line. Now we have to draw the curve with this data. Earlier we have drawn the curve with this data. Now we have to draw the curve with this data. And in order to draw this curve, first I am going to take the poor population. So the poor population of country which is comprised of somewhere around 70%, right? Somewhere around 70%, they are holding only 30%. Whereas the rest of the population, 70%, right? And they are holding only 30%. So we are going to get the point somewhere here, right? It is the 70% population, poor population, and they have only 30% of income. So we will get the point here somewhere around. So the curve is going to be like this. Curve is going to be like this, right? Whereas if we will take the example of country B, here situation is more horrible. 90% poor population have only 10% of income, whereas 10% rich population control the 90% wealth of country. In that case, this curve is going to be further bent. It is going to be further bent and it will be like this. It will be like this. Whereas in the case of country C, here there is better distribution. In that case, population and income, the poor population of this country is around 60% and they control around 40% of the income, whereas the 40% of rich population, they control 60%. So in this case, this curve will shift upwards in this manner. This curve will shift upwards in this manner. Right. Now for your better understanding, I'm just going to fill this in this manner. Right. So if you will see, we have three different lines. Right. One is of red color, another is of black color, and that is of blue color. I hope all these three lines are visible to you. All these three lines are visible to you. I hope. Please immediately tell me quickly, please. Okay, fine. So you can see that this is perfect equality line. This line is what? This is perfect equality line. And these curves are either moving towards, for example, this curve is moving towards perfect equality line, and these two curves are moving away. They are far away from the perfect equality line. So these curves are away from perfect equality line in comparison to the red line, right? So all these curves, whether this curve or this curve or this curve, these curves are known as Lorentz curve. So what Lorentz curve is showing that? First, listen very carefully. Lorentz curve is telling us how much we are away, or how much we are close to perfect equality line, right? Lorentz curve is showing that how much we are close or how much we are away from the perfect equality line. Next thing, if we are closing towards perfect equality line, it is showing that the distribution of income in that country is better than any other country where the Lorentz curve is away from perfect equality line. So in nutshell, if Lorentz curve is moving towards perfect equality line, if Lorentz curve is moving towards perfect equality line, what it shows that? It shows that the distribution of income, listen very carefully, if Lorentz curve is moving towards perfect equality line, it shows that the distribution of income is much better, means the most of the population is getting the even distribution of the income. Doesn't matter total income is how much. It doesn't matter. Even the income is very low. Even the income is very low, but the distribution of income is better. Perfect example, India and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's GDP is very less in comparison to the GDP of India, right? So, if you will compare the total income of India and total income of Sri Lanka, there is no match. There is no match. India have more than means around $3 trillion, $3 trillion of GDP, right? But Sri Lanka, even not $1 trillion, somewhere around 300 or 400 billion. But the distribution is much better than India's. So if we will compare India and Sri Lanka, we will find Sri Lanka here, we will find India somewhere like here, right? It doesn't matter we have beaten Sri Lanka 3-0 in the IPL, and in the recent years we are defeating the Sri Lanka again and again. But in the economy, again, India is like what? India is generating more income. But the distribution of income, when we will talk about the distribution of income, it is much better for the country like Sri Lanka in comparison to country like India. This is what Lawrence want to know and tell you. First he want to learn, then he want to let you know through the Lorentz curve you are able to find it out whether the inequality is increasing or inequality is decreasing, right? So if, listen, if I'll write it here, Is I'm audible right now? Okay. तौबा तौबा, पूरा मूड खराब कर दिया ये इंटरनेट का इशू। हम्म। So let's move forward. So what I was explaining that if Lorentz curve is moving towards the perfect equality line, then income inequality is decreasing. Whereas so if Lorentz curve is moving away, if Lorentz curve is moving away, this is the Lorentz curve. If Lorentz curve start moving away from the perfect equality line, then inequality is increasing. This is country B, this is country A. So if perfect equality line is here and country A have this means they have this kind of the Lorentz curve and country B have this Lorentz curve. So we can say that country B is having more unequal distribution of income in comparison to country A, right? Country A have better distribution of income in comparison to country B. We can say that thing. Sometimes in exam, what they create a deception, right? They create a kind of deception. They will say that if Lorentz curve is moving towards perfect equality line. So when students, aspirants who are going to appear in the exam, who are appearing in the exam, when they see this question, Lorentz curve, अरे वाह, perfect equality, अरे वाह, मजा आ गया, means I am going to get full marks of this question. And in this over excitement, you do not read the further lines carefully. They interchange it sometimes. See, if curve is moving towards perfect equality line, that means inequality is decreasing and equality is increasing, right? And if curve is moving away, then inequality is increasing and equality is decreasing. So in the overexcitement, people will not focus on the term inequality is written there or equality is written there, right? For them, both are same, right? And then in this kind of the question, they fall in the trap and they get the negative, despite knowing the concept, despite knowing the idea, right? They make this incorrect judgment and you lost your marks. And then these guys, when will result will out, then these guys will come, or indirectly or over the phone, they say that ki sir, हमारे साथ अन्याय हुआ है, there is gross injustice with me, let me know how to file the RTI, right? How to file the RTI. So sometimes I just want to tell the reality, right? Sometimes I want to tell them the reality. नहीं भाई, it's not like that. Injustice with you. आप गधे हो. You are not reading the question properly. If paper is supposed to be see little bit easier, be more careful, because there are the very deceptive kind of the people who are setting the question. Sometimes they are very clever and very deceptive. They'll ask simple straightforward concept based questions and they will trick with you the words. They will trick with you the words, and in over excitement and with the anxiety, you are going to fall in the trap, right? So this is why the questions which are the easy question, who are seems to be easy, it's like that, bulati lekin jane ka nahi, right? So they are going to be look like a simple and easy questions, but be very careful with the words and terminology they have used this in these questions, whether it is whatever the paper it is, right? In competitive exam, they are generally not going to ask the easy questions. If that question paper have a history where they are asking simple straightforward easy questions, then maybe it is possible. But if that exam like RBI grade B SEBI exam, in general they have this history, they do not ask too much simple questions. Sometimes yes, there are the simple questions, but not all questions are very simple and straightforward. Then out of 25 or out of 50, there may be around 8 to 10 question with this deception, and you will fall in the trap, right? So that is why in the banking sector exams, speed does not matter. Means only speed is not going to matter, accuracy is also matter. Fine. So you have to develop this trait also, otherwise you are going to make a mistake. Fine. So be very careful for easy concepts, right? I hope you got the understanding of Lorentz curve. Now there is one more line like this line. Okay, this line, and for this line means if Lorentz curve is going to touch this line, if Lorentz curve is going to touch this line in that manner, that means country have perfect inequality. Perfect inequality means only 1% of a population, 1% population is getting how much? 1% population is getting 99% income, whereas 99% population is getting 1% of income. So it is a kind of condition of perfect inequality, right? It is a kind of situation where there is perfect inequality. Okay. But one thing I just want to remind you again, this curve, Lorentz Distribution of income, and I have given the example of India and Sri Lanka. High income, high inequality. Medium to low income, but better. Norway, high income, high equality as one of the best distribution of income among the countries. Right. Okay. But see the irony. Now, Norway, Finland, all these Scandinavian countries have better income distribution. Their HDI is better, right? But if in general you are going to ask anyone where you want to settle, whether in Norway or USA, most of the people are going to answer USA, right? Rather than Norway, right? So if I will also put USA here, so what is the case of USA? Very high income. They have very high income. Okay, they have very high income and medium to high distribution. Actually, the problem with the USA is that they have very high income. Their income is very high. So, this very high income is not able to be evenly distributed. But whatever the distribution is there, with that distribution, the people of that country, they are very easily able to access all basic facilities, right? They are able to access all basic facilities, right? So what I mean to say in the very simple term, the people in United States of America, when they will open the tap, they can drink the water directly, whereas in India you will open the tap, you will take a glass of water and you will do this. पानी का टेस्ट को सही नहीं लग रहा है, right? So for these kind of the things, you need not to struggle, right? You need not to struggle कि अरे सुबह हो गया जल्दी मोटर ऑन करो वरना पानी चला जाएगा, right? So these kind of the struggle for basic facilities is not in the countries like USA, right? In the European countries. So that is why they will get the status of developed country, whereas developing country, least developing country, low developing country, high developing country, different level, right? So some countries who are able to attain all these basic facilities, but still they are not able to provide the higher education to their people. Income distribution is not even good, right? So they are developing countries, right? Those countries who are still struggling to provide food, shelter, and basic health facilities to their citizens, they are under the least developed countries or poor countries. So this is the way how we categorize the countries on the basis of income, right? So this is what one aspect of growth and development and inequality. Some economists suggest that you should first focus on increasing the income. Some economists, they focus on what? Income part more. They said that if we are able to increase our income, right, then we can work later, or we can put more focus on distribution later. Whereas some other economists like Amar Sen said that that is not possible. If you are going to focus only on increasing the income, or you are remain more focused, you are going to be remain more focused on increasing the income, then inequality is going to increase. Poor people are going to be remain poor in comparison to the rich people. So just you should not focus only on increasing the income. You should be more balanced approach, increasing the income plus for their better distribution. So what is the nutshell criticism of this year's budget? The nutshell criticism of this year budget is more and more focused on what? Growth, growth and growth. Whereas the country's budget is not showing very substantial kind of the attention or focus or government's verbal commitment or written commitment ki we are more and more concerned with what? The better distribution of income, right? They are having this kind of the mindset. First we will increase the income, automatically there will be the trickle down, or later on we will increase more and more facilities schemes to increase the distribution, right? Whereas some government, for example, if you will look the budgets of UPA last 10 years, means from 2004 to 2014, and they are inspired by the Amar Sen approach. Amar Sen was a member of National Advisory Council, and under his guidance, there was a more kind of the balanced approach. Whereas this government, means the India government, is more aggressive towards the growth, because more and more example, whether you look the China, whether you look the Singapore or the Asian tigers. Asian tigers means tiger economies like Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. All these economies are known as tiger economies. Why tiger economies? Because in the very short span of time they have achieved the phenomenal growth, right? And with that phenomenal growth, later on they have started focusing on the distribution of income, and their ability of distributing the income was also very good. So the living standard of the people also increased in the very fast pace. So the recent example focuses or give a lesson to the countries like India and China, more and more focus on the growth, right? So this is the justification given by the economist. You can see, you can read that thing in the economic survey or the statement or the press conference given by our economic advisors, principal economic advisor, chief economic advisor. More or more they are focused on this approach, right? So I hope you got some basic understanding about the complexity of growth, development and inequality, and why there are some differences in the approach. Asian tigers, not Asian tiger, but in general the term is used as tiger economies. The term is more prominently used. नेशनल फ्लैग में टाइगर लगा लेने से आप टाइगर इकोनॉमी थोड़े ना बन जाओगे. To being a tiger economy, you have to, for example, Bangladesh have the tiger in their flag, right? Or they depict as a tiger, Bengal tiger, and they have valid claim, because the most part of the Sundarbans where the Royal Bengal tiger have habitat, that is more part of Bangladesh rather than India. So in the most survey, why is the income inequality calculated but rarely wealth inequality? See, wealth is more subjective in the nature, and it is little bit difficult, right? So see, for example, Ambani and Adani both are having high income and high wealth, right? So how you want to distribute? Is it right to take their legitimate income forcefully and distribute among the poor? Is it legitimate? It is not legitimate, right? And I want to tell you one more very important but harsh reality. Important and harsh reality. Maybe many people do not agree with me, but it's a harsh reality. Sometimes people who are poor, right? Sometimes, I'm not saying every time for every poor people, but I have seen practically, and there are many studies, poor people are not just poor because of the circumstances. They do not want to put any effort. They do not want to put any effort. They are like this: government is going to feed them. They don't want to do the work. That is why they are also poor. They don't want to do any work, right? They don't want to do any work. Fine. This is why they are poor, because they don't want to do any work. Fine. So this poverty and inequality sometimes happen. What the famous quote of F.A. Hayek, one of the economists, he said that drunken man, drunken man is destined to be guttered. A drunken man is destined to be guttered. शराब पिया हुआ जो आदमी है ना, वो गटर में ही जाके गिरेगा. ठीक है. आप whatever the effort you want to make him understand, he is destined to be there, right? If he's a drunken man, right? So what we can do an effort, we can prevent him for the drinking, right? We can prevent him the drinking. So if the government is going to ban the liquor, right? If government is going to ban the liquor, actually it is not going to be very good strategy, right? Because of the frustration and a lot of subjectivities are being there. If I'll discuss further, it is going to be more and more subjective, but it is proven it is not a good strategy, right? It's not a good strategy. It is not going to change substantively anything, right? It is not going to change substantively anything until unless you have better implementation strategy, right? It is not going to. Means if Gujarat has banned the liquor, other states are also going to ban the liquor. They are going to be as prosperous as like Gujarat. You are mistaken. You are mistaken. So banning the liquor, maybe because of other moral and social reasons are involved, then liquor ban may be right. And one more thing, don't feel like that ki I am supporting or I am against the liquor ban. Neither I am in the support of the liquor ban, nor I am against the liquor ban because I am non-alcoholic person. But I am just having a discussion with you ki until unless you have proper socio-political cultural reasons, there is not going to be effective, right? Especially the measures like liquor ban, right? So we must have to admit this thing ki each and every poor people who are poor, they are not just because the unavailability of the facilities are, means they are not deprived actually. They want to be remain deprived. Why? Because once the facilities are being given to you, you have to work hard so that you can earn more. That is for sure. Until unless you are not going to work hard, how you are going to earn more? Right? So this is the fundamental reason humans are not equal. Fine. So these are certain matters related to inequality also. Okay, Yogesh sir, why is the video title part 2? I can't find part 1 on your channel. Because on this channel only live lectures are available, my dear. Recorded lectures are only available to the paid subscriber. That is why you are maybe not able to find the part 1. And in the most surveys, okay, wealth can be hereditary, but income, yes, very true. Maya is very true. Divyanshu's in Emerson approach wouldn't be their brain drain, and if there is a less infrastructure for the opening business. See, Amar Sen is not against the business. Amar, don't take it in the wrong direction. Amartya Sen is not in the favor of brain drain or do not focus on the infrastructure. What he want that ki government show its effort, means government must focus on that part also. He is not saying that ki you should not focus on the infrastructure. You should focus on the infrastructure. See, for example, for the infrastructure, what infrastructure development, what government is doing? Government is creating the national monetization pipeline. Government is creating national monetization pipeline. Is government is going to make certain kind of the announcement in order to increase the literacy rate, in order to create a best institutions in India, in order to promote more research and development in this country, in order to create more health infrastructure. We are going to create a national monetization pipelines 30% for that purpose. They creating the national monetization pipeline for the purpose of infrastructure development only. Infrastructure development only. So this only is hurting Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen want ki okay, you can go for that thing. I have no objection, but at the same time, you also have to focus on these things like health, education, right? Basic social infrastructure. You also create for that thing, na? Especially after this huge kind of what corona and all, the health infrastructure has completely broken down in the second wave, right? So this is what he is insisting. He's not against those things. Yes, this is why universal basic income, if you are going to give the universally basic income to everyone, if you are going to give the income, right? So some people are not going to work. Some people are not going to work. What critics of Manrega is saying that in those who are critic of Manrega, they are saying that ki in Manrega, what you are doing, you are giving the money to the people for non-productive work. That is not productive work. You are not increasing their productivity, right? In the no way you are increasing the productivity. You must provide the income, but income should be given to those people for the productive work, or focus will be on productivity rather than just providing the money, right? But that is one side of the criticism. Okay, so is it clear? Is it clear? Now we have to understand Gini index. Gini index. Why Gini index was required? Actually, it is an improvement over the Lorentz curve. It was an improvement over the Lorentz curve. It was an improvement over the Lorentz curve. Perfect equality line. And this was, suppose that, Lorentz curve, right? So the Lorentz curve is able to tell you how much inequality in terms of percentage, 40% population, 30% population, but you are not able to calculate in more numbers, data, right? So the percentage figure and the percentage deviation is very high. There is high deviation in the exact data. So what Gini said, that Corrado Gini was an Italian economist, he made improvement over the Lorentz curve. How he made the improvement over the Lorentz curve? First of all, he said that this is the Lorentz curve and this is the perfect equality line. Suppose that the area between Lorentz curve and perfect equality line, this is the area. Okay, so this is the area between Lorentz curve and perfect equality line. Okay, that is area A. Okay, whereas the area of this entire triangle, suppose that A, B, C and D. So area of triangle ABC, right? So means this area. So yellow plus green area. I love coloring. Okay, so the area of triangle ABC is what? It is this area plus this area. So both area is the area of triangle ABC. So Gini said that in order to go for Gini coefficient, that is G, he has given the concept Gini coefficient, Gini index, that is G, and it is what? It is going to be A upon area of triangle ABC. That means A upon A plus B. Okay. So suppose that A upon A plus B. If inequality is going to increase, the area of triangle A is going to increase. Here there is a calculation, means you have to understand this is the very basic thing. He has given the concept of Gini coefficient, right? He said that this is area A upon triangle area ABC. That means when G is equal to 1, when G is going to equal to 1, if G is going to be equal to 1, it is perfect equality or perfect inequality. Answer. Perfect inequality. Why perfect inequality? Because A plus B, this area A plus B, this area means a triangle, the area A, and this is going to be what? The value is going to be 1. And when G is going to be 0, then when G is going to be 0, G का वैल्यू 0 कब होगा? G is going to be 0, that means A must be 0. A must be 0. And when A must be 0, when A is going to be 0, A is going to be 0. When A is going to be 0, A is going to be 0 when Lorentz curve will be on perfect equality line. If Lorentz curve is going to be on perfect equality line, the area of A is going to be 0, right? So the value of G is going to be greater than or equal to 0. The value of G is going to be greater than or equal to 0, and it is going to be less than or equal to 1. Right? The value of G is going to be either G is going to be what? G is going to be greater than or equal to 0, right? Or G's value is going to be less than 1, right? Equal to or less than 1. G is 1. G is 1. Here I am going to write, if G is equal to 1, perfect inequality. If G is equal to 0, perfect equality. Means if the value of G, that is Gini coefficient, is increasing, then inequality is also increasing. Inequality is also increasing. Whereas if the value of G is decreasing, then we can say that the inequality is also decreasing. So Gini coefficient actually provide us what Gini coefficient provide us. Gini coefficient, with the help of Gini coefficient, we can find the numerical value of inequality. Whereas with the Lorentz curve, we are able to find the inequality in terms of percentage only. But with the Gini coefficient, we can calculate the inequality in numerical terms. However, Gini coefficient also have a same problem which Lorentz curve have. For example, if we go for value of Gini coefficient, the Gini coefficient value for the country like Turkey and USA, the value of Gini coefficient, for country like Turkey and USA is almost same, right? What is showing that the exact value of inequality, right? The amount of inequality is remains same, right? But if you will see, the overall income of USA is very high. The overall income of USA is very high. So maybe inequality looks same in Turkey and USA, right? The value of inequality, for example, suppose that the value of inequality is 4235, 425 for Turkey as well as USA. What it is showing that both countries have same level of inequality, right? But Turkey have somewhere around 2 trillion income, whereas USA is having a lump sum around 14 trillion. I'm not very right, but more than 10 trillion, right? So that $10 trillion income is not evenly distributed. That's why their Gini coefficient value is 0.0425, whereas country like Turkey, they have to distribute this $2 trillion income among their citizens, then this value is coming here. So the problem with the Gini coefficient and Lorentz curve is remain same. They only tell us about the inequality. They are not able to tell us about the total amount of income and its related distribution. They only tell us the what exact amount of income the country have and the distribution, right? However, Gini coefficient and Lorentz curve are very important in terms of if you just want to know the level of inequality in the country in terms of percentage or in terms of numerical value. Fine. The value of Gini coefficient lies between 0 to 1. Greater value, greater inequality. 0 represent perfect equality while 1 represent perfect inequality. Yes, very true. So Gini coefficient and uh, Lorentz curve is clear. I have tried to explain in the greater length about the reasons of inequality, the approach of the government, right? I tried very hard, but I was not very satisfied because I want to explain this thing in the more and more like live class kind of a setup where I am on the board and I am able to explain in that way. Anyhow, I have tried. I hope you got this understanding. Later on, when I'll get the opportunity, I'll go for that thing also. आते हैं कभी आपके सिटी में लाइव परफॉर्मेंस करने के लिए अगर आप इनवाइट करेंगे तो राइट book the theater and give the class in that theater kind of on the projector screen or the kind of the big screen. Means there is no single method which shows actual price picture of income distribution. It all shows the yes, there is no single formula. Sir, one of the topic question, are you from economics or the UPSC background? You would love to know more about it. I already told earlier. I already told earlier. I have given. I am non-economics background person. I have completed my graduation from CSGM University Kanpur, and after that I came to Delhi and I worked with the Citibank for almost 2.5 years. Then all of a sudden, my mind was changed and I started preparation for the UPSC. And then finally I failed because I have committed a lot of the mistakes when I was preparing. And even after that failed, I have decided I will do anything, but I'm not going to become a teacher. But the God has decided कि whatever you want to do, I will not allow you to do. You must have to become a teacher. So when finally I found that कि I must have to be a teacher, means God is not allowing me to do any other thing, and overall I am going to get this thing only. So I have decided कि okay, let's enjoy this work and do it this work with the great passion. So that's why I become a teacher and I'm doing this work with passion, right? When I'll start teaching, I forgot the time and I forgot the each and everything. But each and every time I have this thing. Means if you'll allow me, I can go for another 1.5 hours. I'm not going to stop. I'm a kind of person, if you'll ask me, I can explain. Till then, I'm going to collapse. Right? So I love that thing. I want to stretch myself to that extent. Ki let's see without any stop how much you can give. My record is 4 hours and somewhere around 20 minutes or 30 minutes, 4.5 hours, somewhere around, because I have not calculated, but I have went for this marathon session. But these marathon sessions may be a kind of personal achievement. In four point of, I have seen on the YouTube marathon sessions, 10-hour session, 20 hours session. अरे किसको बेवकूफ बना रहे हो यार? These sessions, marathon sessions are not going to work. Learning need some time and space, and after that particular point of time, your mind is going to be off, right? So you are like that, you are doing this, but you are not getting anything, right? Like you are listening some Western music, you are doing this thing on the beats, but you are not able to understand any word, right? So you don't understand what he is singing or she is singing, right? People, for example, I'll give you the best example. There are some songs, they are basically sad songs, They are satires, but the music of that satire or that sad song is going to be used by the Instagrammers for the love songs, romantic thing, and that song is actually a sad song, right? But it is being used in the other because people don't know what the words are being there, right? So this marathon sessions are not good. So that's why 1.5 hours sufficient, and I think I already did that part. अरे परमठ में तो बिल्कुल भीड़ होगी भाई. So means this session of study means the education part is over. I can continue for another 5 to 10 minutes. I don't mind. If you have any question out of the context, you can ask me. No issues. Divyanshu Sukla, are you also from Kanpur? Vikalp is saying that please start the MCQ series for the revision and is more efficient on any update or planning for the management. Yes. MCQ series, descriptive as well as MCQ, both are going to be addressed. So you provide one-to-one guidance for your course. One-to-one guidance is very difficult, right? And I feel very bad. Actually, tell you the truth, I feel very bad when I initiate something but I am not able to finish that thing. One-to-one guidance is right. I am kind of the demanding person, right? If I'll give you the task, I assume that you are going to report me, but because of this time constraints and all, I'm not over to see your continuous performance. So it's very difficult actually. One-to-one guidance, yes, uh, I can oversee, but I cannot do this thing on the regular basis. But yes, I will try to do my best. Yes, descriptive part I will take daily, but taking daily descriptive part, sometimes of MCQ is also required. So focus will be on descriptive part, but I will also take MCQ. But session is going to be like NDA government's approach. Our approach, my approach is going to be like more and more on infrastructure, and very few focus will be on other sector like MCQ. I will basically focus on descriptive part, but yes, I will also take the MCQs. 8 to 10:30. Sorry, 8 to 10, not 10:30. 8 to 10 from tomorrow onwards. So Divyanshu, you are from Kanpur. So let's talk in the Kanpuriya manner. Sir, yield to maturity and और required rate में क्या डिफरेंस होता है context of the bond notes में क्लियर नहीं हो रहा है. नोट्स में क्लियर नहीं हो रहा है, डोंट वरी. Nitin Nawal, how come to live in the Hyderabad, sir? Okay. Okay, Harsh Gujral, I have seen that, but I can give the entire lecture in that way. He can just act, but I can give the entire lecture, the Gini coefficient or Lorentz curve. I can explain entire thing in that way. I'll tell you how I came to the Hyderabad. At a point of time, means in 2018, that was one of the low point of my teaching career because of some inherent issues in the last coaching, and all of a sudden I got an opportunity, and on I think 1st of November 2018, without knowing about Hyderabad, I came to Hyderabad. Since then, I am here. Sir, one more question, sir. How to collect or memorize the data? For see, the art of descriptive answer is you must have only few data. Just only few data is required, and that data is going to be used in the different manner. For example, if you know the Gini coefficient value of India, you can use this Gini coefficient value in the fiscal policy. You can use this Gini coefficient formula in the monetary policy. You can use this Gini coefficient while writing an answer on income inequality. You can use this data for the government schemes, particular scheme. This focus should be on. You can use it, right? It is like that ki I have only few data, but I am going to effectively present that data. So for all the students who are concerned for the descriptive part, they this is nonsense if you think that ki without good number of data you are not able to write a good descriptive answer. In descriptive answer, effective presentation is equally important in comparison to the data. So no need to worry too much about the data. While explaining you about the descriptive part, I am going to let you know this set of data. And maximum for all descriptive part, I will give you only 25 to 30, maximum 35 number of the data. Right, and it is going to be little bit easier for you to memorize because out of that 35 data, you can derive half of the data with half of the data. For example, you can just try to memorize like 15 to 20 data, and with that data you can derive another 20 to 25 data. So I use this approach, very unconventional approach, so no need to worry about that. My for faculty need, you have to talk to Ashok ji. I'm not a person who is a part of recruiting part. You have to contact Grade B admin team. Sir, please answer my query. How to overcome family pressure and relative unwanted comments when you will settle and package of my relatives. It seems that I am only nakara in the word. Acha. Okay. Sir, one question. If only target the sectional cutoff in the quant and give me 100% to other section, it will be able to clear. Okay. As hypothetically, it will be the good to attend the offline class. See, Yogesh, you are asking how to overcome. I'll tell you the best way. Whenever any Gyani relative or any person will come in contact, so rather than avoiding, this is for all of the people who feel anxiety to face such kind of the relative, right? See, first of all, there are only few relatives who are genuinely concerned, right? Who are genuinely concerned. Rest of do not have any topic to discuss and enjoy. So that is why they use this thing, right? They used to do this thing. I'll tell you what I was doing during my preparation when there was a pressure, right? मैं हिंदी में भी बता दूंगा और इंग्लिश में भी, राइट? सो फर्स्ट आई टेल यू इन हिंदी. सो अब पापा, मेरे फादर जो हैं वो ज्यादा बहुत प्रेशर नहीं लेते, ठीक है. उनको पता है कि वट एवर आई एम गोइंग टू डू, इफ आई एम हैप्पी ही इज ऑल्सो हैप्पी. ठीक है, मेरे पास थोड़ा भी आएगा तो वो उससे खुश है, उनसे उससे मतलब नहीं है. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई एम वेरी थैंकफुल फॉर दैट थिंग. गॉड हैज गिवन मी सच काइंड ऑफ द फादर, राइट? अब उसके बाद रिलेटिव तो ऐसे हो नहीं सकते ना. रिलेटिव आर गोइंग टू use this thing. So what I did in my colony, there was an uncle who is very concerned about my career because his son was settled in Bangalore and he was getting some kind of the good package, अच्छा package भी मिल रहा था. So whenever I'll come to my home from Delhi, I was preparing in Delhi. So whenever I'll come to my home, so he genuinely come for a tea either in the evening or morning at point of time. So I will be at home so that he can have a chat with me. So I got very irritated with him. Then I thought that ki, let's enjoy. So next, from the next time onwards, rather than he is going to at my home, I started going to his home. Suppose that I reach in the early morning from Shram Shakti Express from Delhi to Kanpur. I reached to Kanpur on after changing the clothes, just face wash, and I'll go to his home. I'll go to his home. कि अंकल पैर छुए उनके, और अंकल एक्चुअली आई एम मुझे बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है और मुझे लगता है कि ओनली यू आर द पर्सन हु कैन गाइड मी फॉर माई बेटर फ्यूचर, right? So even I some at one time I'll go with the pen and diary. I write each and everything what he is giving me the suggestions. So I showed him कि I am the best people of him. मैं उससे उनसे बड़ा उनका भक्त और शिष्य कोई है ही नहीं. So I started doing this thing with him, and he was completely surprised. So whatever he has started telling me कि बेटा ये करना चाहिए, बेटा तुम्हें वो करना चाहिए, तुम ऐसे करो, तुम वैसे करो, I used all those things in the fictional way. I wrote each and everything. And next time, whenever I went to visit the Kanpur, अंकल आपने जो बताया था, दिल से मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बहुत फायदा हुआ अंकल, बहुत फायदा हुआ. मतलब मैं मान गया आपके, मतलब इतना अच्छा तो गाइड मुझे आज तक किसी ने किया ही नहीं था. I started using this thing, and you know what happened when his son came back to कानपुर. He started scolding on him कि अरे तुमको कुछ नहीं आता, गधे हो, उस लड़के से सीखो, वो आता है, पूछता है. He started doing this thing on his own son. So I found this technique very effective. Whosoever is targeting you, just change your heart, just do the best acting, like शाहरुख खान वाली एक्टिंग करना है, जाके पैर और छूना है, एकदम डायरी पेन लेके बैठ जाना है कि अंकल आप बताओ मुझे क्या क्या करना है, आप बताओ, आप ही की बात मैं मानूंगा, अपने बाप की भी बात नहीं मानूंगा, मैं सिर्फ आपकी बात मानूंगा. ट्राई दिस टेक्निक and it is going to work in the 100% effective manner. They are going to be speechless. Whatever they are going to use an offensive, use those things as your offensive against them. ठीक है, वो बड़ी बड़ी बातें बताएंगे कि ये ऐसे करना चाहिए, वैसे करना चाहिए. जस्ट से यस, हाँ मैं यही कर रहा हूं, और मैं तो सोच रहा हूं मैं प्रिपरेशन छोड़ दूं और मतलब अब यही कर लूं जो आप बता रहे हैं. मैं तो सोच ही रहा हूं कि मैं पान की दुकान खोल लूं. यूज दिस थिंग, आप ट्राई कर लेना, एकदम ट्राइड एंड टेस्टेड है. दे आर गोइंग टू बी पजल्ड, दे आर गोइंग टू बी स्पीचलेस. वो आपको देख के भागने लगेगा कि अरे अभी भी मेरे पीछे पड़ जाएगा, जान खा लेगा मेरी. तो आई डिड मेनी टाइम्स. आप ट्राई करके देखो एक बार, देखना बेस्ट रिजल्ट, 100% गारंटीड. It not about you, Yogesh, Vikalp, whosoever in what line you are facing this thing, do this thing, do this thing, and you can see the miracle. They will start running away from you. Career is better with the RBI. Teaching, until unless you are very passionate and there is a good opportunity, right? Many times, what happened, right? I have seen this thing in my life. I know that concept better. The I am back. चलो, lot of डिस्कशन हैपन. ठीक है, अब इससे ज़्यादा ओवर हो जाएगा. सो लेट्स वाइंड अप दिस कैरियर. सर आप बता रहे थे कैरियर पे. आई वॉज जस्ट टेलिंग यू, सी माई डियर, द टीचिंग कैरियर इज वेरी रिस्की, राइट? You have to be good motivator, you have to be good actor, you have to be good person, how to break things and then make the things uh, better again, right? So this is very skillful requirement is, and moreover the luck is also required. Sometimes luck factor also work here. So this kind of the up and down career you are going to have in the teaching career as a private teacher, right? And there is a huge possibility of downfall rather than going for good one, whereas in RBI you are going to get a very good career, right? So no need to worry. Vikulp, very soon I am going to conduct a Zoom session. So there you can discuss with me. Okay. चलो, time to take note means time up. अभी बंद करते हैं. It's about 11. I'll discuss on any other day. Fine. So let's see tomorrow, 8 to 10. Okay.